Affordable CF Express Type A cards from a brand that I trust may seem like an oxymoron, but at NAB earlier this year, I saw that OWC was making those Type A cards. This is a big deal because I've been using OWC's hard drives for years. I trust them with my data. I have a Thunder Bay 3 or a Thunder Bay 4 on my desk right now. I have multiple RAID drives. I used to use them to upgrade my MacBook's hard drive and RAM back in the day when Apple still let you do that. So I was interested in trying out their Type A card, and it seems like they have a lot of features at an affordable price, but I wanted to put them through their paces first. One of the biggest benefits of shooting with the CF Express Type A cards is the ability to record in all formats and frame rates. Here are some screenshots of the recording modes that work with the different cards in the FX3 and the FX6. The Type A cards unlock all the internal recording formats and frame rates. Transfer speeds are another thing that attracted me to these faster Type A cards. One interesting thing that OWC mentioned at NAB is that their Type A cards, they suggest that you use the Type B reader, which was a little strange for me to hear. Why wouldn't you use a Type A card in a Type A reader? You can, but for the best performance, you shouldn't. More on this after these tests. In the most boring tests of my life, I transferred a 104 gigabyte clip that I shot on my FX6 onto each one of these cards to see how fast they would write. 104 gigabytes writing from the hard drive of my MacBook Pro to the V30 cards took 24 minutes and 45 seconds. The V60 cards took 20 minutes and 30 seconds. The V90 card took 20 minutes, and the FX3 transferring with USB-C took 11 minutes. The Atlas Type B card in the Type B reader took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to transfer all the footage, which is very fast. In a more practical test, I then took all of the same exact 104 gigabyte clip from each of these cards to the computer, which is really the test that I cared about. And here were the results. The V30 cards took 18 minutes and 31 seconds. The V60 cards took 9 minutes and 21 seconds. The V90 card took 6 minutes and 47 seconds. The FX3 with the Type A over USB-C took 5 minutes and 12 seconds. And then the Type B adapter from the OWC reader took 2 minutes and 19 seconds. As a point of reference, my Samsung T7 external drive took 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and the Atlas Type B card was actually faster than my T7 SSD. That 104 gigabyte clip was one clip from the entire day. The whole day's worth of footage was 270 gigabytes. So to transfer 270 gigabytes from the Type A card reader in the B card reader took 6 minutes and 35 seconds. So the Type A card in the Type B reader was able to transfer 270 gigabytes of footage faster than the V90 card could transfer 104 gigabytes of footage. Sorry, I keep looking over here. I had to write down notes because I could never keep these numbers straight. When you're transferring an entire day's worth of footage, this is where the speed difference really starts to show those performance gains. If you're looking for the fastest speeds, the Type A card in the Type B reader is definitely the fastest way to go here. However, I was on a trip and I had my FX3 and a USB-C cable, and I was still able to get faster speeds than the V90, even using the USB-C from the camera itself. So even if I'm traveling, I can still utilize the speed of this card to transfer things faster. I wouldn't recommend doing that all the time because you're really losing those performance gains of using the Type A card in the Type B reader and then using the Type B speeds to actually unlock all of those transfer speeds to your computer. Those are the real performance gains that you can't even touch with these SD cards. Another benefit of these cards is that they come in two different capacities and they're both huge. The first one is 480 gigabytes, and at the time of recording right now, that is 320 USD or 66 cents per gigabyte. Or you can get the 960 gigabyte for 520, and that's about 54 cents per gigabyte. The larger card is cheaper, but I tend to not shoot a terabyte of data with my cameras, and if I'm typically starting and stopping, I won't even shoot 480. If I have a B or a C camera just rolling all day, maybe that 960 would be better suited for that situation. But I like getting in the habit of transferring all of my footage off of a card at the end of the day, backing it up, and then wiping the card. So I like the idea of these 480 gigabyte cards, especially if you're buying multiple of them. Talking more about the CF Express Type A cards in the B reader, this was something that was a little strange to me, and I actually hopped on a call with the engineers and salespeople at OWC so they could explain this to me a little bit better. And how they explained it was the OWC Type A cards can write up to 1850 megabytes per second, and they can write up to 1700 megabytes per second. The average Type A speed for a regular Type A card is 800 megabytes read, 700 write, which is still plenty fast enough to use all the frame rates on these cameras. This is where they already made a Type B reader that's capable of reading up to 5,000 megabytes per second, and it has access to their Energize software that I'll get to in a second. So they include a Type B reader that you can use with your Type A cards, so you can actually utilize the faster read and write speeds of the Type A card in the Type B reader. Using the Type B reader, there is actually a toggle on the back that says USB 4, or it has this like plus sign in a circle. That's their Energize logo for Energize mode. USB 4 will get you the faster transfer speeds, while going to Energize mode will allow you to use OWC's Energize software. With the software, you can check for firmware updates for the card, and you can check the health of the card and sanitize the card. They said that checking the health of the card actually checks the blocks of data on the card itself to ensure the overall health. I've been using this for the past few months, and the first thing I did with it was put it into a camera and just record a bunch of test footage in my office, filled up the card, transferred it, and then sanitized it, ran those tests again with a different camera, and just rinsed and repeat before I even took this on a client shoot. And after doing all that and taking it on my client shoots for, I don't know, the past months, the card is still at 100% health. So I will report back in the future, maybe next year or in 2 years, I'll make a follow-up video of this card in particular to see if the health has gone down at all. But in my testing, it's still at 100% health. Overall, I wish Sony would use the Type B cards like the Burano uses, but I understand the Type A card is like significantly smaller than the Type B card, so maybe that's why they went with this form factor and the dual SD CF Express card slots. But regardless, I love seeing more Type A cards come onto the market from brands that I trust. I use the OWC enclosures and hard drives and computer parts for years, and I've never had any issues with any of them. I thought I was pretty nerdy and technical with all this stuff, but getting off that Zoom call with the OWC engineers, these guys are really passionate about what makes computer drives and parts really tick and how they can actually make them better at a more affordable price. So that was really cool to see and hear those guys, how passionate they are about this stuff. What do you guys think of the OWC Atlas cards? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.